Hi everybody, I am Lady Stars of Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for December 18th through the 25th. Now, if you've never watched the video before, I give you a little bit of guidance for the week that comes from Spirit itself, giving us guidance to help move us forward in the most positive and healing ways within our lives. As well as I give you the Rune cast, and I give you whatever I am seeing in astrology. Now, I'm not exactly like most astrologers. I do see the same thing and have the same aspects that most astrologers give you. However, Spirit also will pinpoint other areas and be like, look at this. This is the important thing. So that is where I come from when it strays into stuff that sounds a little odd. Best way of putting it. Because I'm being told it by Spirit, so I have an extra oomph on that astrology side as far as that goes when Spirit speaks up. As I go into this week's healing messages, though, I want to first say, happy holidays to everybody, no matter what it is that you celebrate. And I'm going to leave it that way because there are so many different things that could be being celebrated, especially this week. But with that being said, what I'm first starting off with from Spirit itself is they are just giving me physical changes in our lives. Not necessarily just for this week. It is coming into more or less the whole next month. And it is starting with right now. But I am being told physical changes, physical changes, physical changes. Could be with your health and body as well. But it is mainly outer community is what I'm being told. Something within your life is making a major shift and change in some form outwardly within your life, and things will be continuing to do that. Point blank, it's just, I keep being told, physical changes, physical changes, physical changes, changes that are taking place in the physical world. And the higher we keep our vibrations, the better that these changes can take place. Obviously, the more that you know about your dimensions and your vibrational energy, the higher that you keep it, the better that it is. But remember, you do still have to stay grounded during this time. So you may still step into those other dimensions, but remember, they affect the third dimension, which is where you are, and that is the physical world. So make sure you're keeping it at a high vibrational level. Talk yourself back into it if you have to. Stay out of that, what do they call it? Uh, 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 when you're shit talking yourself, basically. None of that. We don't want any self-sabotage. So, yeah, there's things that are happening and changes that are taking place, and there are people who have been hurt by these things, but it is for the higher good, and you have to remember that, and something about this is going to make it a better thing, as long as you can stay positive. With that being said, let me get back into this week's healing messages. I will remind you before I get into the actual astrology, you do have the solstice this week. You do have Christmas this week, because I'm doing it from the 18th through the 25th. But with that being said, on Sunday, I'm sorry, the sun, it's the abbreviation for me. The sun moves into Capricorn this week. So it's moving out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn on the 21st, which is the solstice. But remember, that's your core energy, your shine. It also has egotistical energy to it, but it is illumination. It is your illuminating shine, basically. And the core of who and what you are and where you are in these aspects is leaving Sagittarius, which I typically see as our higher self. It's our connection to our higher self. And remember, it's been there with Jupiter and Mercury, but it's leaving Sagittarius this week on the solstice, and it's going into Capricorn. This is moving into a new form of foundations, a new platform area is where we're taking that core energy, which goes perfectly with the beginning of the next year. As I said, we're going to be having a lot of shifts going on, especially up until that eclipse next month. So it is really going well with that energy. Now you also have the full moon on the 22nd, which is in Gemini, but it is going to be in a void, of course, of Cancer. And everybody just wants to call this a full moon in Gemini. No, it is in a void, of course of Cancer. I'm going to learn to talk one day. But you will be picking up energies from both sides. And for me, when I look at an air sign, An air sign can be very dry. I mean, it can be very stagnant. In the form of it is flowing energy. It moves and it can shift and change. But stagnant in the form of it may not necessarily have emotion so well with it. Okay? I mean, it will shift and change, but I call Gemini Jekyll and Hyde. Okay, you don't really know which side you're going to get when you're there. And now you're putting the moon there on a full moon coming out of Gemini. So you're coming out of that Jekyll and Hyde energy, seeing both sides of everything on both a good and positive and a negative way. I mean, so you're seeing everything. Kind of, and the moon is there amplifying it, and that just is also speaking to, our third house and our fourth house universally. So it's speaking to us of what's close to us, our family members that are close to us, the small situations that are mundane, that are part of your life, as well as just your home and your karmic energy of your home, so your moon is moving on the full moon. The full moon is going to be happening on the 22nd, right after the solstice, and it's going from Gemini into Cancer, where it becomes more nesting and way more emotional, because it's getting into the depths of self, coming right out of that Jekyll and Hyde energy. Now, with that being said, let me jump back into what Spirit has given me for the week. If you've been following me for a while, you know that often I don't always hear Spirit quite so well. It sounds a little too muffled. I don't get their information so well. So they give me images, more or less. They put it in my third eye. And often they give me symbols or signs or other languages. And they've been giving me Hebrew for a long time. And they give me the old ancient Hebrew. And then they send me towards the Torah for that guidance of what that letter is meaning. As every letter in Hebrew alphabet actually has a spiritual meaning. And I am being given, and I do apologize for those who know Hebrew if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Hey or ha, it's H-E-Y or H-E-I is how you would spell it in English. But it is also, it speaks to us of the vibrational frequency of the number 5. Okay? So, first off, we're getting that letter. Speaks to us of the letter 5, but if I go in deeper, I never have enough time when I get Hebrew information to go so deep into what it means. So I try to break it down for the videos the best that I can so that you can get the gist of where we're going with it, depending on where you are on your spiritual path. So, hey or ha, however you pronounce it, honestly, speaks to us of a new look, to reveal, to see, to know. It is behold, more or less. It also speaks to us of our breath. It speaks to us of width, length, and depth. It speaks to us of our dimensions of reality, from what it is we truly know as we start to experience these dimensions of reality on a much higher level. It also speaks to us of our thought, our speech, and our actions. And the essence of who and what we are, our transcendent light, as well as our immanent light. So it's speaking to us on all of these different levels this week. It is breaking of the very vessel of who and what you know yourself to be, and impregnating it, more or less, with the higher soulful reality. Okay? So that does not necessarily mean, I say all the time when we are dealing with Spirit, when they come in and they make these shifts and changes, start to move us in a more positive way, we don't always necessarily get it in the most foo-foo, happy, joyful way. Sometimes we do, because we're already on that path and we're a little bit ahead. And we're walking in the right light. But sometimes we've got stuff we're in denial about. And with all the stuff that's been coming out of Chiron, there's still skeletons in the closet that are lifting. Okay? So these denials and shifts and changes that are having to happen within our physical world are definitely rising and coming up. And this is what I mean, or what Spirit actually is meaning when they are giving us this letter. It is the breaking of the vessel, breaking of who and what you are and what you knew. yourself to be. Okay? And it's impregnating it because you're not ready to rebirth yet. This is why it's impregnating it, is the idea. This is the way the thinking goes for this. It's impregnating it with that new soul purpose, with that new direction, with the seed of starting to grow it and make it so you can bring it into a new reality. We aren't there for the reality yet. It's just at the impregnating stage. The seed has to be planted. And that's what this week is about. And probably next week too, I have a feeling. But that's definitely what I'm being told this week is about. As we come through all of this higher energy that's coming in and shifting for the holidays themselves, as well as just the way that the planets are moving, it works very well with what we're being told. So understand, if you're not where you want to be, or if things are changing and you don't like them right now, that might be part of the point. Okay, the point is because we're starting to come into that higher feeling of who and what we are and what we need and where it is we should be. And how are we getting there? Like I said, I've been saying ever since Jupiter jumped into Sagittarius with Mercury in retrograde and the Sun was there as well. I was like, that is a conversation of your higher self going, where are you not standing up for yourself? Where are you not living up to what your higher self really knows you can be? And we're coming into realizing these facts and these changes and impregnating the seed of birthing ourselves to who and what we are, what we truly are and can be. So these shifts and changes have to go through some denials, some skeletons in our closets to get there, okay? It is a positive thing, but it can hurt some as you're making these changes. But you've got to stay on that higher vibrational thinking. No self-sabotage. Okay, I am also being given the Tower this week in tarot. Basically, the Tower is the crumbling, the end of something. It's falling apart, and the demolition is happening, so to speak. But I'm seeing it in the sky, which means we are moving towards, we're trying to go past the Tower. We're trying to go to our higher self, but we haven't made it past the Tower quite yet. We're in the process of that demolition for that self change, that soulful change, to start viewing truthfully on an authentic level, higher than what we've ever known authenticness to be. Okay, so I am seeing the Tower in the sky, basically. So it's trying to move us to a higher purpose, is what I'm being shown. And I'm also given spirit guides this week, animal guides, and I am being given cat and peacock. Now hear me out. Cat is coming to us in spirit itself. The energies, I'm just going to give you a small little rundown. Cat, as a spirit animal, can deal with cleverness, can deal with your magic, can deal with your intuitiveness, your selectiveness, your independence, and your adventurous side. There's so much more to cat than just that. I mean, by all means, if you're not sure what spirit guide means for these animals, look them up, Google it. You may find that there's more to it. But I am being told cat is coming to us in our spirit, ourself. So it's from the depths of inside of us. We need to be connecting with that cat energy and helping to find it and understand that as we move forward. Because I am being given the peacock. And the peacock is speaking to us of our physical reality. There are two. One is the inside of us and our depths, and one is what we project outwardly. And I am being given, peacock speaks to us of colorfulness, boldness, energy, mysteriousness, it's hidden talents. It's speaking of standing in your power and showing the light of who and what you are. It speaks to us of vision, dignity, prestige, sensuality, generosity, and expansiveness. So, like I said, I'm being given for us this week. Spirit is giving us spirit inside, from inside of us. Connect with the spirit of the cat, but on our outer life and our outer community and how we bring ourselves forward. Like I said, we were given hey or hi, or however you pronounce that, H-E-A, H-E-Y, or H-E-I in Hebrew. It's connecting to the number 5, which has to do with change. But it's also speaking to us of thought, speech, and actions. Width, length, and depth of who we are. It's the essence of who we are, our transcendent light of who we are, along with, past all of that, the eminence of who we are. Okay? It is breaking that vessel and impregnating the higher truth. But, so we have our inner cat that's talking to us and our outer peacock. Okay, and don't forget, we're going past the tower. We're trying to move past the tower to move into this next energy. Now, I was given Induus. Induus looks kind of like a diamond. As far as our runes, I was given Induus, Menez, and Lagus. And Induus is the seed. It is the guiding. It is the world of our inner experiences, our virtues, our common sense, our family, our human warmth. It is stillness, gestation, and a moment of the very process. It indicates the presence of someone who works with the land or is working with their spiritual work. It reveals the need for meditation, but it does speak to us of no decision without proper thought. It is our inner nourishment. It is withdraw and allow your inner preparation and your suspension for your outer contact. Basically, strengthening your inner resources. It is the moment between the different states of the very being of who and what you are. It is achieving that internal growth. Necessary stasis benefit from your inner focus. It is the hidden realms from within. It is the fertility rites of magic and passage. Now, I am also given Manez for this week. And if you guys have anything else you want to throw in there, make sure I see it, please. Yeah, I'm talking to spirit. Because my hand's hot holding the book, so there's something else for me to see, but they're not showing me it the way they normally do at the moment. And I'm kind of talking because I'm giving them a chance to help me catch it if they want me to say it right now. Otherwise, it might just be for me in general. So, I'm wasting a little bit of time as I look through the book. Anyway, the next one is Manez, as soon as I can find it. Eagle. They're telling you eagle energy. I'm sorry, took a little bit. Eagle energy is another guide for this week because, yeah, now my hand's cooled off. Like I said, they have their ways of talking. Now, so you're also given the spirit guide of the eagle this week. You may want to Google it and see what it can connect with you directly. Manez, going back into the rune cast, speaks of man, humanity, people, air. It is the world of people. Intelligence, creative skills, and ability. Focuses on awareness of self and one's place within the scheme of things. Focuses on self-realization through everyday daily tasks and the regular order of life. It shows the presence of someone who is seeking and finding their true path because they are aware of themselves. But it can also show someone who's feeling victimized or lost. And this is because they're unaware. They're not finding that awareness of where they belong. And that's because there's something they're not listening to inside. Okay? It indicates the highest level of spiritual and magical intent and achievement. It is self-realized consciousness. It is the hero, the seeker, the personal quest, awakening within your own place within the world. Playing one's part, the only part that you can play because it was the part you were meant to play. Stepping up to the plate and being you. Belonging in divine energy, manifested in human form. Acceptance of divine and human energy. Remembering everybody has this, not just you. Okay? It is realization that comes with playing your part. Okay? I mean, this is what it all comes down to. And then, of course, we have Lagus, which I've been seeing for days. Lagus speaks to us of water, sea, the lake force. the lake and the life force. It is water, the worlds of water, rivers, and ocean. It focuses on our emotional, our creativity, and our spiritual energy. The healing power of renewal. As well as our psychic energies and psychic patterns as we learn to grow through them. It is the journey over water, or the journey into someone's deep self and feelings. It shows the magical power at work and indicates the presence of someone working with their magic. Look for emotional people, creative people who just seem to somehow get their way because they are in that higher energy of Lagos, not in a lower energy where the emotions have taken them into a bad place. You want to stay in that higher vibration, like I said. Its interpretations are water, life force, emotions, feelings, the feeling body, intuitiveness, unconscious depths of self, the sea voyage, rites of passage. It is a full moon. You are releasing and letting go. Don't forget that. Okay? It is through our dreams and our growth, we are starting to grow. Point blank. It's creativity. It's speaking of our vital power of our own spirit. It is layers of our existence coming up from the unknown. Energy manifesting from the unknown. It is telling you, release, surrender, and let go, basically, so that you can come into your magical energy as you start to move forward, because you are magic, my love. Now, with all of that being said, let's get into the astrology. All week long, I'm going to give you some just all week long energy. First off, you do have Saturn and Venus, which have now come out of shadow. They are no longer viewing things from a darker point of view, which is definitely making things feel like it's popping a little bit more, jumping, moving forward a whole lot faster. That's because the shadow is now starting to dissipate and go away. You have Saturn, which is in Capricorn, that universal 10th house. It is sextiling both Venus and Ceres in Scorpio, which is your universal 8th house, as well as it's sextiling Neptune and Mars in the universal 12th house. This is talking about rules, walls, and boundaries taking on brand new opportunities. Let me just try that. Let me just see if I can go that direction. Venus is speaking to your sensitivity of going, yeah, I think I can. Ceres, though, is reminding you, use your wits about you with Venus's sensitivity, because she's all about karma. She's all about nurturing. And have you been nurtured right, or have you not? And are you nurturing properly, or are you not? So are you nurturing what you need out of these new rules, walls, and boundaries that you are trying to create? And Mars is giving you that warrior spirit to try to chance it and go for it. Now, the thing is, Neptune is still in shadow. So make sure that you're creating something new, not something old. Make sure that Neptune isn't giving you misguided magical information that you already know deep down ain't true. Like I said a couple weeks back, if you know you've been putting energy into something and you're trying to build something and it's just not working, if you've been giving it the proper chance to birth, or if you're just freaking lying to yourself because you like the denial better. Sorry, I don't always sugarcoat it. If your magic is being created from ill waters, or if you're creating from healthy new ones. Stick with the healthy new ones is what I'm saying. Because you have the possibilities. You have the sextile right now to help start those new creative energies and start to move you forward in the outer community. From Scorpio all the way to Pisces, there's just all kinds of conversation going on over there, basically. And this is, on a universal level, this is our outer community making big changes. And you have this very powerful sextile, which is a chain reaction, 1, 2, 3. And they're giving you the possibilities to move forward, but don't let that Neptune energy and its nostalgia confuse you and create magic that isn't true. You know when you're creating false magic. You just don't want to admit it. And it's in that 12th house, which makes it easy for you to fall for it. Okay? Now, you do have chain reactions also, and this is one of the ones that Spirit was pointing out to me. Because when I say chain reaction, it's not necessarily like when we say it's a grand cross or a grand square, a grand trine. I mean, it's not the big things, but Spirit is saying it's big, even though you kind of might just look at it and overlook some of these pieces. So this is why I put it as a chain reaction, and it starts with the North Node. The North Node is now in Cancer, which is speaking automatically to our karmic self. Okay? Because Cancer is the universal fourth house. It's nesting. And it's speaking to us about what we need to learn in order to move forward within our karmic energy of our own home and the truth of who and what we are, as well as the truth of where we are in our home life. Okay? And the roots of how we got here. Okay? So you have the North Node, which is in Cancer, is in opposition, obviously, with the South Node and Pluto. Death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, renewal, and regeneration. This equals spiritual change in the area of foundations and new platforms. Okay? And are you creating a new foundation and a new platform of something that you already created and you already know that the shit's going to fall apart? You need to be creating new. Take new soulful ideas of new platforms, new foundations to start creating. Because this is bringing it into what will be security and last in the long run. And it's in opposition because your higher self knows what needs to be done. It's the ego that's afraid to make the changes. And it's talking about what you truthfully need in the karmic idea of soul. Okay? Now, it is also squaring Uranus. Independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom. Stepping into your power, baby. Uranus is still in retrograde. Until like, I think, the first couple weeks of January. So it's also giving you that smackdown right now, Uranus, is of where are you not finding your independence? Where are you not stepping into your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness? Where are you not bringing this up and out of you? Where is your creativity, more or less? Where are you not getting the freedom you deserve? And it's not comfortable with what the North Node has to say, because that's fear. That's fear telling you what you got to do and what you know you need to do and stepping into your power. Like I said, we're coming into a whole new level of understanding what authentic is. We thought we knew what authentic is. No, these next 10 years that are coming are going to teach us we knew shit about authenticness. And you're about to find out what it deeply is and the power that truly comes with it. And there is pain there because you're still fearful of making those changes. Change has to happen. It's imminent. Change will always happen. But will you step up to the plate? And I am being given green energy, which is saying this is so much has to do with growth of who and what you are. But that growth is going to come into your physical world if you'll believe in yourself, is what they're telling me. And they're telling me to trust in, the death, decay, and the destruction for that faith of the renewal, the rebirth, and the regeneration. It will move you forward. But you have to believe in yourself as you do it. Okay, now, let me get back onto that chain reaction. See, here's the thing with that chain reaction. That energy that I was just speaking about, it's trining the sun. And remember, the sun is coming into the winter solstice, and it's on that same day it's moving from Sagittarius to Capricorn. Hello, it's coming out of listening to that higher self, and what the higher self is telling you you've been slacking in about giving yourself what you deserve and illuminating yourself so that you can start to build that new platform and that new foundation as you move into Capricorn. This is a positive thing if you believe in yourself and you can take that boldly step forward. Basically, you can get past all those self-destructive, self-sabotage, thinking that you can't, if you're not good enough, then you're gonna move forward. You gotta shut that shit up, okay? But on top of this, you are gonna have, which kind of comes in like a cross, like I said, is the way that they're showing it to me, is Neptune is squaring Jupiter and Mercury this week. Now remember, Neptune is still in shadow. It is still picking apart those darker aspects. Okay? And now it's talking communicatively, outwardly. Okay? And it's speaking with Jupiter and Mercury, which is now in Sagittarius, still speaking to your higher self. Mercury is still got some of that shadow energy going on, talking to Jupiter about where you're still slacking in your higher self and where you're not spitting it out outwardly. But Neptune's trying to maybe talk you into believing some stuff that you already know ain't true. So don't fall for it. Okay? Now you also have the Sun is squaring Chiron and Mars. Mars is your action, your passion, your aggression. And it's a fire sign in water. So it's kind of fizzled out. You don't feel as powerful, but you need to. Okay? You need to step into your power. Because Chiron is still looking at some of that dark shadow energy as well. But he's moving forward. He's trying to get to where he's about to leave that universal 12th house and start that first house. Okay? And start all over. So all these skeletons in the closet that are coming up are there to remind you of something that has to change. Not to redo it, not to walk down that path again, but view something that didn't work about yourself or how outwardly you communicated it or you allowed the outward world around you to treat you. These are those skeletons that are deep inside that have been hidden from you, that are rising right now. Because Chiron is the wounded healer. He's the gatekeeper of wholeness. He wants to start a brand new cycle. And he's squaring the sun. Because the sun knows what you're not illuminating yourself about. And it's trying to start that new, try to put you in the new position. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you are being impregnated with the seed of finding how to step into that higher self. That's what this energy is. And it's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not. That's why there's so many squares here. That's why there's so much, hard energy. Because that's part of ego's job. If ego could keep you from moving forward, it won. It's that simple. It's not meant for it to be easy to step into the power and the flame and the soul of who and what you are on a true authentic self. We've still had that idea incorrect. You're learning how to truly come into power. But you've got to first believe in yourself. That's what this energy is about. Now, also you have Ceres is squaring Lilith. Venus is squaring Lilith. This is your universal 8th house. It's speaking to the relationships and what they're responsible for. Versus Lilith is, I'm not going to do a goddamn thing I don't want to do. Point blank. And then Aquarius gives her even more balls. Okay? Gives her even more balls to be in ego. That's your point this week. This is, like I said, we were also given Induus this week, which is speaking to us of our 4. It's speaking to us of our inner nourishment. Listen to your intuitive self this week. But know when ego is bullshitting you, okay? Now, you have the moon is going to be moving into going through Taurus, and then as we hit the summer, the winter solstice, if you're in this area of the world, it's winter solstice, in Gemini on... it's going to be in Gemini on the 21st. And that's the day of the solstice. Then, like I said, it's a void, of course, from Gemini into Cancer. As we go into Cancer, energy will be the mid-21st, 22nd, and mid-23rd. And then, as we go into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, the moon is in Leo. Now, remember, I've been talking about dragon and the constellations lately. I'm going to come back for that because there's some very powerful energy there. But I want you to know where the moon is moving so that you understand the energies that are going with this as we move through the week. From Taurus to Gemini to Cancer to Leo. Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. Very powerful energies for this week. Okay, now on the 19th, you do have a T-square. Lilith in Aquarius is not getting along with Moon in Taurus or Juno. Juno is the wife of Jupiter. She is commitment and sacrifice, along with your emotional depths, not getting along with Lilith and her egotistical area outwardly of what she wants and what she will and will not do, and Ceres and Venus. These are, like I said, uncomfortable energies. There's a challenge here for you to overcome because this is speaking to the relationships and what you're responsible for within those relationships, or all of us within our relationships, not just you. So Ceres is speaking to how is things being nurtured? How is it not being nurtured? What's the karmic energy that's going with this? What's the threefold that's going with this? And Venus is speaking about the sensitivity for the positive and the negative, speaking again to Lilith about what I will not do. You're not going to make me do a goddamn thing I don't want to do, and I am the powerful feminine. Okay? In Aquarius with the over rebellious energy. And then the moon and Juno in Taurus at this time on the 19th. You are going to be feeling stubborn as shit about what the commitment is and the sacrifice that needs to be made and fighting yourself about whether you're going to make it. I'm warning you. I'm just giving you the energy as I'm seeing it. Now, on the 21st and the 22nd, like I said, the 21st is the winter solstice, and then the 22nd is the full moon. Don't forget, like I said, I keep being told that the energy coming out of that dragon constellation has a ton to do with what we are going through. And it's like the mediator here that helps us get through. It helps us jump the realm. It helps us through the gate, more or less. Don't forget that the moon is going to be crossing the Polaris star. That's the North Star, folks. Okay, the North Star in Gemini, and it's going to amplify that mirror of that sun. Now, the Polaris star speaks to us of rules, walls, boundaries, Venus's sensitive energy, and the illumination of the sun, and it's going to be in opposition of the sun, the real sun. So it's going to bring extra emphasis on your rules, your walls, your boundaries, your sensitivities, and the illumination that's with it. Because it's also bringing in a creative energy of all of that, speaking to the actual sun as we go through the solstice, which on that day is also speaking to Neptune, which is in the universal 12th house. Like I said, the moon is going to be in Gemini. The very next day it moves. No, it does move that day. It will be in Gemini, but it will also... Oh, no. Duh. Let me start over. The summer solstice has Neptune, 12th house, moon, Gemini, 3rd house, universally, Jupiter, Mercury, 9th house, Sagittarius, and the sun is moving from Sagittarius to Capricorn and will be in opposition, not in opposition exactly, but it is going to have that kind of energy, is what I'm being told, from the Polaris star, which is the North Star, adding rules, walls, and boundaries, sensitivity, and illumination to the very conversation of the very sun and the moon, which are already having a conversation on that day. So it's mirroring. It's going to be mirroring everything that you really need to intuitively start seeing. Open your eyes. I was said, hey or ha, Hebrew, behold this week. Behold. It is behold. It is width, length, depth, thoughts, speech, action, essence, transcendent light, eminent light. It is to look, to behold, to reveal, to see. Okay? You are going to be getting these on the you're going to be getting these pretty much from the 21st right on up through Christmas Day. You are going to be seeing these. But especially on those two main holidays. On the 21st and the 22nd. Because the full moon, you've got Gemini and Cancer, which is going to be Gemini going from Gemini to Cancer, the full moon. It's going to midday shift. And it is in opposition of the sun, which is going to be having a conversation with the Polaris star. Rules, walls, boundaries, inner, outer community, inner, outer world, community of who you are, as well as inner, outer community, because we are got so much going on and so much shifting going on in the outer community. So it is your illumination with those new rules, walls, and boundaries and the sensitivity, speaking to the actual illumination, speaking to the depths of who you are, all in very uncomfortable ways. So it's trying, like I said, it's making you step into seriously starting to see the true depths of authenticness so that you can clean out all that dingy shit, more or less. These are going to be positive energies, but there are things that are going to really get in and get into your head and make you so stay out of self-sabotage, but see the truth so that you can make the proper changes. It's impregnating the seed to move you forward. Understand that. Now, on the 23rd, though, you do have a grand trine. It is Cancer and the moon in the universal fourth house, speaking to us of our nesting energy, of our depths of ourself and our karmic self in the home itself. Then speaking to Neptune, again, still in shadow energy, even though it came out of retrograde, in that universal 12th house, about maybe speaking to some of that magic of what you're trying to create. Just make sure you're not letting it talk to ill waters of ill nostalgic shit that isn't gonna ever work and you already know it isn't. And then Ceres and Venus, how to nurture the change as it comes forward within the relationships from who you are and what they're responsible for within the relationships, what you are responsible for, what the truth is in that, as well as what the truth is in others. This is a positive energy. It is an opportunity for you to learn something and move forward in a healthy way within your relationships, as well as learn something about yourself. So take that magic and allow it to move you forward. Just don't get in Neptune's dark side right now. Stay out of Neptune's shadow as much as you can. Now, as we come into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, you have Lilith, which is going to be, we got a T-square again. Lilith is in Aquarius again, which is going to be speaking to Venus and Ceres in the relationship house and the rebirth, the death, the birth, the death, the rebirth, the mystery of creation of those relationships and what they're responsible for as well, and the moon in Leo. Drama. Okay? Drama, but compassion at the same time. Very balls up in the juggling your balls, more or less, is we're going to be feeling a lot of that energy. And here's what you need to remember about that. Kokub. The moon is going to be crossing Kokub, which is in that dragon constellation. It is the gateway, okay? It is the energy of the sun magnified with creation, okay? So it has an extra energy of creation, of illumination, speaking to sorry, he's got his tail all up in your face. Speaking to the idea of creating new. On Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, Kokub is giving you the gateway right there. It is showing you the illumination and the creation that can be spoken and found. There's even more coming, and it's coming out of Leo as well. So it is your inner and your outer, your depths of yourself, your moon in Leo, speaking with, like I said, that gateway of Kokub and the higher dimensions. So it is also speaking, stick with the Venus, stick with the Ceres energy, stick with, where the nurturing is found or where you're acknowledging that it isn't, being responsible and mature about it, allowing the sensitivities of Venus to speak to you of what the truths are, but not necessarily act if they're not healthy. It's learning how to act from a higher dimension, okay, and still be able to stand in your power, because Lilith's ego will fight you on it. I love you, honey. You can have a wonderful week, but it is all about letting go of ego, stepping higher into soul, and starting to impregnate the true, authentic seed of soul. I love you. Bye. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Happy Yule and winter solstice. Bye.